Welcome to Turn Extension, a supplemental podcast for the Advanced Maneuvers YouTube channel.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Turn Extension. My name is Tony, or Polar Bear Cub on the forums.
Hey everybody, it's Kevin, Tau Dark on the forums.
And this is Devin, Cutthroat Cure on the forums.
So one of the things that we wanted to do for this episode was we have all these cast members that have been on Advanced Maneuvers. There's 9 of us now, and a lot of people we've noticed that certain people have, we'll call them favorites. Every time we get a comment on YouTube or something like that, we'll toss it over and be like, hey, here's another member of your fan club or something like that. And we wanted to take the opportunity to potentially go through a kind of a series of getting to knows, so that you could get to know the cast members that are on Advanced Maneuvers a little bit more than just, hey, it's that name tag in the bottom left or right-hand corner of the video. And for the very, very first one, we decided that we were going to do a getting to know Polar Bear Cub, the host of this little podcast that we do.
Hi.
And just an opportunity to get to know and learn him as an individual with meat.
Let's get ready to go down that rabbit hole.
Let's pull back the curtain and show the darker side of Tony.
Pants are coming off. Sorry, I didn't mean to use my outside.
The first thing everybody needs to learn about Tony is Tony podcasts with his pants off. I'm not sure why, but if he could go to conventions and play with his pants off, he'd probably do that too.
I would. I did used to have a mooning problem in high school, a pretty bad one.
Used to have?
Okay, so I toned it down a lot. I've been very good the past 4 years. I've only mooned a handful of people. I'm pretty sure I did moon DC though when we were at Lock and Load a couple weeks ago at his house.
Really? Okay, so
yeah. So I probably shouldn't have done that, but in my defense, I was drinking.
That's not a defense.
I don't cloud the issue with facts, Kevin.
I'm sorry, that's what this is all about, facts.
So don't worry about it. He doesn't work for Privateer Press anymore, so it's okay.
Yeah, see, it's fine.
Well, and after this podcast, neither will Tony.
It's true. Mod status revoked.
So, obviously, we're Warmachine and Hordes podcasts, and let's dive into how long have you been playing Warmachine and Hordes, and where did you start? At what point was it Mark 1 or 2, and what was your first faction? And how did this journey of Warmachine and Hordes start for you?
So I started playing, I believe it was 2006. It was in the fall, I want to say. And it was right around the time, it was either when Apotheosis came out or Superiority. I want to say it was Superiority because I remember talking about Epic Kane for the first time. So that was back in Mark 1, so long time ago. And kind of the whole
was
thing.
Was Siege even out then?
Yeah, Siege was out. So it was, I want to say, if it was a Superiority, actually no, if it was Superiority, Siege was not out yet. So it might have...
You came in before your first love even was in.
Yeah, actually, so my original first love was Kane. And then when Siege came out, I fell in love with that man. Siege is my boy. But so the way I would started was, I guess a little bit further back was I used to work at a summer camp. I was really big into Boy Scouts, and when back in the day we would hang out and not do anything at night except for play role playing games, stuff like that. And that's kind of how I got introduced overall to all my nerdy geekery. My first thing I ever played was Werewolf the Apocalypse. So I was really into role playing games. And I played a little bit of Magic and stuff like that. And obviously I played video games. I still have my original NES, which I hadn't fixed a couple years ago, but it's still working now.
Nice.
I know. I love it. It makes me sad because I cannot play Duck Hunt, though, on new TVs because of how the stupid technology advanced too far. Anyways, after that short little distraction. So one of the things that they did was one year they had really gotten into 40K, and I wanted to play it because I thought it looked cool, but I saw the price on the box and that immediately turned me off because for an entire summer, I think I made $700 for the whole summer. And back when I was like 15, I was like, oh, this is really good because I'm stupid when it comes to money. So that turned me off. But then a couple years later, fast forward to 2006, 2007 time frame, I'm hanging out with two of my friends. One of my friends, Jack, and my other friend Wayne, and they were talking about Warmachine. So Jack wanted to show us the game, and I was like, okay, fine. And the way how we did it was a three-person. We played. It was a three-way battle box. Well, it's not even a three-way battle box. It's a three-way game where I played against Vlad. I played as Vlad, and I had two casters. My friend played Sorsha in a unit, and then I can't remember what the third group was. So I did not know at the time that if your caster died, you lost the game. So clearly, I had fucking Vlad right in the front because I was like, whatever, he died, still got two badass jacks behind him. And he died, and then I was told, yeah, Tony, you lost the game. So I was a little sad about that. But I was still interested in the gameplay because that was really cool. In the opening of the book, I fell in love with Kane's story. And from there, I kind of just got into it. I love the idea of Kane being kind of a drunk, but not really because he's actually like a super secret spy, but he has this awesome cover, all that stuff. So that's kind of where I got into Warmachine in general. So my first faction was Signar. From there, I played Legion for a very short amount of time during Mark II, and then I also picked up Convergence whenever Convergence came out.
So let's talk about Convergence for a second. You were playing Signar. You were a huge love of Signar. You took a dip in the Legion Blight pool and was like, this isn't for me. Went back to Signar. And then Convergence was released. Were you on board with the Convergence like day one of the spoilers, or that's something that kind of grew on you? Or
so when it comes to Convergence, my biggest thing about Warmachine is I really like the idea of playing Warjacks. I loved Warjacks. And if you ever played in Mark 1, you almost never saw a Warjack on the table because there was no such thing as Warjack points. Everything cost points, even Warcasters. Like Haley was like 56 points. Like Darius was like 93 and so on and so forth. So everything costs points. So you never saw a Warjack because they just weren't viable. They had to, if there was 3 systems knocked out, they would be destroyed, and so on and so forth. Their map was a lot worse. Come Mark II, they were a little bit better, but not great. But when I first saw Convergence, the fact that they were all based around jacks, and they started talking a little bit about the induction when they first came out, it got me excited. And honestly, the kind of the thing that sold me on Convergence was whenever I saw the concept and stuff like that for Axis. I love the idea of Axis, and when I saw his feat, because they talked about his feat, where it was +2 strength, -2 strength, +2 speed, -2 speed, can't charge, I fell in love with that. So I was really, really hoping, gung-ho, going to pick up Convergence, and we had a friend, Faulty. He was actually going up there, and I begged and pleaded and convinced him to pick up pretty much everything that came out during lock and load there.
you basically just went in whole hog. Like the second the faction came out, you were like, I want it all.
Yep. Yeah, I went in whole hog faction whenever it came out. And actually, I think that was right around the time, Kevin, where you and I started hanging out a lot more, and advanced maneuvers were already kind of going, and I kind of fell into the fold a lot more during that time because not lock and load, because that following Gen Con was we went to Gen Con and we ended up running into each other and hanging out for a while. So I think you were with
that was awesome.
I can't remember who the other person was, but I remember going out to go get food at one point at Applebee's.
So the next question that we need to ask you, Tony, that the fans need to know is, do you prefer creamy or crunchy peanut butter?
I actually like creamy
Be
peanut butter.
Be careful here. Be careful. We may not be friends based upon how you answer this question.
Oh, I already said I like creamy. I'm not a fan of crunchy.
Okay, good. All right, we can be friends for a little longer.
All right, that's good. That's good.
So you already kind of mentioned that you went into like D&D was kind of a gateway drug.
Whoa, not D&D. Werewolf the Apocalypse. White Wolf, man. Very big difference.
So under D&D, even lower than D&D.
Like you get the fuck out of here.
I was like, basically, I was like, here's the level that you entered in, and you're like, no, I'm a shittier person than that. I'm
Hey.
down here.
Hey,
You see that gutter over there? That's where I crawled out of. Like underneath the dungeon, that's where I crawled. That little thing called werewolf.
I hate you guys. Just remember, I do the editing. I will make you guys look awful.
No, none of this interview is ever going to make it.
Yeah.
But so, what was so before that? Because like, for those of you who don't know, Tony is a huge rugby player. Was your nerdy geekdom kind of a closet thing? Like, were you a closet nerd, and then we ended up dragging you into the light with AM, or was it more of a you fully embraced your nerddom and you were a rugby player as well?
So actually, it was the opposite, where I was a super nerd. Pretty much, I've always been like really. I've been nerdy to this extent that I love playing games. Like I used to play Pokemon, all that stuff. But I was never really like, I never talked about it a lot in public. And actually the rugby thing came a little bit later. So I had always kind of played sports. I played football when I was in like middle school, and I played baseball and basketball and all that stuff. But it was a couple years ago actually is when I really got into rugby, mainly because my boss suggested it. And there's nothing quite like being able to hit your boss twice a week and not get in trouble for it. So that's kind of what it was. I was always a really big nerd, and then I found rugby and kind of tried to balance it out a little bit so I can get a little bit more in the shape, and then I could still be a super nerd.
All right.
So you mentioned that you played Pokemon when you first started. The viewers need to know, what is your current Pokemon Go team?
I believe it's the only team that matters, and that is Team Valor.
Boo.
Good answer.
Boo.
Kevin, that's why we can't be friends.
We can be friends over peanut butter, but we can't be friends over Pokemon.
Exactly. As long as you're not Team Instinct. Kevin? Oh, Kevin.
No, I'm Mystic. So, what? So you've been in this hobby for a pretty long time. We're going back to Mark 1 and all that stuff. So you have a lot of experience in Warmachine and Hordes. Is there one kind of your best moment or best moments in the game? Obviously, besides joining Advanced Maneuvers, clearly the highlight of your Warmachine and Hordes, career, if you will. Moment in Warmachine and Hordes.
You mean sleeping in the same room as me, okay? So get your shit together.
Yeah, it's true. That's what. I have a couple. So I guess gaming wise, so pure game wise, my favorite moment, which I still laugh at so hard sometimes, was shortly after, it was the year after Colossus came out, and it was shortly after Darius's Theme Force came out, where he had the 2 storm walls. I was at Gen Con and I was playing against a friend, and we were playing, and he had Xerxes 1, and he just did so much damage to both of my Colossals, but he spread his damage out too far, and he left both of them on like 3 health boxes. And it was my turn. I had the biggest smile on my face because I had just walked Darius and his little half-jacks up and popped my feet and completely healed them. And I've never seen somebody so demoralized in their life. And I could not help but laugh so hard during it because it was so great.
So let me see if I can paint this image real quick. You're playing your opponent. You're getting a good game in. You're enjoying it. You pop your feet. All of your storm walls heal up, and your opponent's just like, oh man. And the only response that you can give isn't hey, sorry, or hey, everything okay. So you laugh in his face.
I did laugh in his face. And
You're a horrible person.
I know. And then we had to sleep in the same room that night. So I'm pretty surprised that I lived through that night.
Was there any pointing?
Of course there's pointing. I think I might have pulled a muscle in my stomach during that point. That was great.
Yeah. Anybody who has to share a room with Polar Bear Cub needs to recognize that we've coined a term with Polar Bear Cub called aggressive cuddling.
I will cuddle the shit out of somebody. But other than that, so that was pure game-wise. For everything else, it sounds cheesy, but it's really the amount of people I've met through Warmachine. One of the big things, like I met you guys purely through Warmachine. It started with Gaston, where we met at the game store, and he had on he had on a T-shirt, or he had on a jacket, and it said something in Italian. And I asked, "Hey, what does that say?" And Gaston, being an asshole, it says "fuck off." And that's how we became friends, which is pretty great. But
secretly, the jacket did say "fuck off."
That's true. Probably secretly, the jacket really did say "fuck off." But no, so that was kind of the beginning, and then just every time I've gone to a convention, I feel like I've met more and more people. I've really enjoyed hanging out and talking to people, because it's the one community. It's not the only community, but it's a community where I feel like I can go into, and we can just start talking about just different factions, stuff like that. I mean, I've been able to meet people in Australia. The first year I became a press ganger, I got to meet two awesome guys from, actually they were from Australia as well. So I met two guys from Australia, one guy from New Zealand just a year or so ago. I got to go to Gen Con for my bachelor party, and one of the guys got me to stand up on a bar stool at the Ram, and everyone was cheering me on because he screamed talking about Warmachine and talked about me getting married. And then I think I had so many shots at that point. I definitely remember tripping over a lot of people. But I just had a blast. I became really good friends with DC Carl. Well, David Carl, DC. I've got to meet so many people through this community in this game that's really the thing I love the most.
Since we all know, and some of us have had the pleasure of extreme cuddling, how about you let the fans know whether you wear boxers or briefs?
So I actually wear the boxer brief combo because I like to feel safe and secure.
You'd like to feel safe and secure without the shame of whitey tighties?
Hell yeah.
Combo breaker.
Boom, baby.
So speaking of you want to feel safe. Now, give the fans, what's your greatest weakness about this hobby? Like, what is your Achilles heel that anybody can exploit over you?
I'm way too nice. So I apologize left and right during a game. And there's literally been times where I've walked my opponent through the process to kill me because we've been playing and I've seen them a little upset. And I've seen what they could do to kill me, and I will literally walk them through it. And back in Mark II, I would have them measure it out just to make sure it could happen. Yeah.
So
it happened once at Gen Con.
You enabled cheating?
It happened once at Gen. Well, I was like, okay, well, I had my cash up there. I was like, okay, well, my cash is this far away from here. It's this far. I was like, I'm pretty sure you can do this and this to kill me. And I don't know if it's just because that's just my general thing or because I'm also a press ganger, so I like to see people happy and play the game. And I've never cared too much, unless I'm on video, I've never cared too much about losing a game. It's usually only when I'm on video where I get upset when I lose.
I wouldn't necessarily say only when you're on video.
Okay. Well, not only when I'm on video, but if I tend to be more concerned about making sure that my opponent's having fun a lot of time, which it hurts me a lot.
Yeah, I've definitely had games against you. You are 100% right. You're always apologetic, but you seem to turn it into an art or a skill that most people don't have. I've actually seen you apologize for kicking the crap out of your opponent. I am so sorry that I'm kicking the crap out of you. And as a person who has received that at one point in time, you're like, dude, I am so sorry. It was the Nemo 3 versus Zerkova 2. Where you're just like, I am so sorry that I am murdering the crap out of you. And I was just like, you need to shut up now.
I know, God, and my wife yells at me so much. I apologize way too much. It's something I've got to work on because I've started to realize that it sounds like I'm being sarcastic during it, and I'm really not. I legitimately don't like seeing people upset, which is awful because I'm also a boss in real life, and I make people upset daily.
And a mod now too.
Yeah, and a mod now too. Yep, and I've gotten a couple people upset on the forums.
I want to receive your ban letters that's just full of this I'm sorry, sincerely, I'm sorry.
Whatever.
So speaking of bosses, who is your favorite Mega Man boss?
Oh, God damn it. People are going to kill me because I actually don't play Mega Man.
What?
I know.
Left field.
I've
You
never
have ever played Mega Man?
I've never played Mega Man.
It's a safe answer to say Cutsman.
Okay, I'm going to go with Cutsman. I feel like that's set up for failure because I feel like that's not the best one. No, but
He's great.
And I've always been I am really bad about playing games like that, but I love Zelda. I will say I love Legend of Zelda. I'm so excited for the new Legend of Zelda coming out, by the way. Cannot wait.
What's your favorite Zelda expansion?
I really like Ocarina of Time, obviously, because it was extremely well done, and I had a Nintendo 64, and that was the first game I ever plugged into it. So, and I'm really excited because there's a new, not new, but Nintendo's putting out the NES, like a rebirth of it the day before my birthday, and on it has the installed game of The Legend of Zeldas, which is I never got to have them for my old NES, and I've searched everywhere for them. So I'm kind of excited to pick that up, so I can play the original Legend of Zelda. And then the other one is it came out on the 3DS. I literally bought a 3DS just to pick up one Ocarina of Time, but also it was I can't remember what its name is, but it was just for the 3DS that came out a couple years ago. And I think I beat that within like 15 hours or something like that. My wife was so pissed at the time because I wouldn't do anything else to play that game. I stayed up, I think, the entire night playing it, and she almost murdered me.
Have you ever seen the Zelda timeline that somebody sat down and created? Basically a timeline of the events and the sequences of all the different Zelda games, and then even branched it off to quote-unquote alternate realities where things went. I saw that and my mind exploded.
I know, it was I thought it was really good because it split off the different ones and all that stuff, and then like on the alternate timelines, and I think Ocarina of Time was the one who diverted the timeline. So where there's like alternate universes to them because of the fact that Link continually gets reincarnated. And side note, I'm also pissed off. My wife's, whenever we have kids, she will still not let me name my daughter Zelda, which I'm upset about because freaking Robin Williams named his daughter Zelda, and that's fine.
And she is a lovely person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to fight that one. That's a deal breaker.
I keep telling her that whenever she's drugged.
Go Zora. Go Zora. Just kind of throw it under there. It's really like obscure. And then when she finds out that you actually pulled that one, or, then she'll be like, son of a bitch. You're like, gotcha.
Gotcha. It was either that or I wanted to name my, our daughter Haley. And she won't even let me name her Haley. So.
Well, that's because she recognizes that everybody will hate her.
That's hurtful.
So let's talk about things that irritate you now. What is your biggest pet peeve as it relates to the hobby of Warmachine and Hordes? Or just the hobby of miniature gaming in general?
I gotta think about this one. I think the thing that annoys me the most is when people start bitching up a storm. Like, just bitching up a storm about how the game is going, and literally the next turn they fucking wipe half your army off the table.
We have one of those in our group.
I mean, I love the person to death. I do, but they get so pissed when one of their models dies. Just one of their models. But the next fucking turn, half your army is off the fucking table.
Hold on. Wait a second. You did that to me.
What? When did I do that to you? You killed one of my Stormsmiths. I was very upset. I was very sad.
I killed one Stormsmith. It was the tower. I killed the attendant to the tower, and then in the next turn, you wiped my entire army off the table.
Kevin, that's completely different, okay? Because I was the one doing it.
So it's a pet peeve when other people do it, not when you do it.
Yeah, exactly, Kevin. I'm adorable, so that's fine when I do it. I'm like a child.
Oh, Jesus. So your biggest pet peeve is people who get frustrated games ever come to its conclusion?
Yes, yeah, who get frustrated very easily. And don't get me wrong, I've done it multiple times, especially when I'm tired. I know if when I'm tired, I wear my emotions on my sleeve normally. So when I'm tired, it's just I can't hold back at all. I try to work on that a little bit because I never try to be outwardly pissed at the individual. I try to be upset at how I'm playing and what I did to mess up. But I mean, it's something we're all guilty of.
So I think from what we can take away from this is if you really want to send Tony through an emotional roller coaster, play a game where during his turn you're constantly bitching about how the game's going against you, and then during your turn look like you're having the worst time in the world, and he'll feel so conflicted between you doing his pet peeve and you not having fun. He won't know what direction to go.
I'll just jump off a bridge. So just let you know.
So I don't even know why this question is even included in here, but because there's only one answer. But let people know whether you choose Star Wars or Star Trek.
It's Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Did you guys see the new Rogue One trailer, by the way, that came out last night?
Yes.
Oh, so good.
December cannot come soon enough.
Oh my God, I could not get any more erect at that point. I'm so excited by that.
Did you pass out from all the blood loss to your head?
I did. I know my wife's really excited about it because she does not like going to movies at all.
So if when that comes out, are we going to do like an Alamo trip where we all meet in Huzzah and go to the movies, to that place that serves food and beer in the theaters in the big cushiony seats?
God, I think we need to. I fucking love Star Wars. I love Star Wars a lot. And that movie looks so goddamn good. But
so
no
if
one
you
can
love
talk
Star
to me.
Wars, have you ever thought about the Star Wars tabletop game?
I have. My issue with the Star Wars tabletop game is that I don't know enough people around here that play, and I'm trying not to get into any other hobbies because I don't have enough time right now to play Warmachine, or I barely have enough time. I don't want to get pulled away from any other, which honestly the reason why I never got into Guild Ball either. I got to play it with DC for a little bit, and it was fun, but I really like Warmachine a lot, and I don't want to get distracted by playing other miniature model games.
A man of focus.
I know.
So I think we already know the answer to this question. What's your favorite faction? Like, I'm assuming well, I don't know. Is it Signar or is it Convergence?
Fluff and story-wise, I love Signar. So Signar is a faction I always go back to constantly because I love it. But on a pure gameplay experience, I am a better Convergence player than I ever probably will be for a Signar player. I'm not sure why, but my win record with Convergence far surpasses my win record for Signar. So I don't know. I really I like both of them. Like I in my heart I love Signar, but I just know I'm not as good playing them as I am with Convergence.
So since some of the fans have definitely heard them in the background many, 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 many times, how many dogs do you have?
I have two. I have a 8-year-old pit bull that she does nothing but sleep and eat, as she's sitting next to me right now. But I have a 6-month-old puppy that is I think my wife said he's a mixed Razor Wineback or something like that. Razor Ridgeback. And
it's a Ridgeback, yeah.
Yeah, and he just fucking barks and howls and cries. But he's a dick, so I can't have him out when we're recording. So I put him upstairs, but he tends to be very loud and vocal.
Sounds like very familiar.
What?
So you play Signar,
Mm-hmm.
you play Convergence.
Yep.
What's the faction you're probably never going to play? Or at the very least, it's like the last potential faction you'll ever play.
It'll probably be Protectorate. And it's really because whenever I first started, my first person I regularly played against, his name's Wayne. He played Protectorate. And then when Harmon was playing Protectorate, and other people playing Protectorate, it's kind of just, it's just because so many other people have played it, it's never really, I've never been excited about the Holy Zealots. So that's probably out of all of them, that's the only faction I probably will least likely play.
Okay. So I think that's, for the most part, that kind of wraps up what we're going to cover here. I would encourage any of the fans who have other questions that they would like to ask Tony to throw them in the comments in the Facebook page or underneath the YouTube video in the chat underneath that. But for now, we'll close this one out and we'll do another interview at a later date.
Awesome. So thank you guys for tuning in.
If you have any suggestions of who you would like to hear us interview next, just throw it into the comments and let us know. And depending on who we get the most requests about, we will try and convince them to join us for a recording.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye.